Welcome to day 27 of the query folding challenge. For today's challenge, we are instructed to select the currency key, currency alternate key, and currency name, where the currency name contains two of the letter E. Two conditions are stated right here. It is case sensitive and does not need to be in a row. Then we are using the AdventureWorks database and the dim currency table. So let's head over to Power BI. So the first step, as usual, is to connect to the data source. Select the AdventureWorks database and the currency table. Then click on OK. Click on OK to import the data. We already know that these are the columns that we want to use, but we know that the column of interest right here is the currency name because that's the column that is going to determine how we apply our filters. And we would like to see where it contains two instances of E, either they are consecutive or placed anywhere within the currency name. So we want to get a list of all currency names. So we use list.distinct. We want to get distinct currency name. So we provide a currency name column, currency name, close the brackets. And now we have a distinct list of all currency names. So we can rename this step to currency name list. So now we need a means to count the numbers of E in each of this currency name. For example, we have Argentine peso, which has 1, 2, 3, three instances of E. So how do we count this? So to do that, we need to find a means to split this into a list. In the previous challenge we did, if you've not watched, I recommend you watch it. There are instances where we were able to convert some text to a list. So that's what we are going to do right here. So to that means we want to transform this present list. So to transform this list, we use the list transform function. Then we provide the list. The name of the list is what? Currency name list. Then we need to provide the transform function. Since each list is a text, we use the text to list function and provide the current item. So remember that we are iterating through this list. So we are iterating through this list. So we use the each function so that it checks each item. Then we close this. Then click on OK. Now you see that each item in the list has now been converted to a list. Number 3, for example, which is the Argentine peso, contains each record in a row, right? Each letter in the currency name is now in a row. So for example, we have the 3 E's here in separate rows, right? Let's check row number, let me see, I think 22. Row number 22, let me see, Colombian peso. Let me do 23. 1, 2. Let me confirm. I think there's one that has 2. Let me see. Let me go one step up. So if I go one step up, and now we have the Chilean peso, which is 22. That's 21. So if I should enter 21, now I have the Chilean peso and we see the 2 E's right here. So we need a means to count these two E's. So when I was trying out some functions, I realized that I could use the List.FindText function. List.FindText function. So what this function does is that you pass a list, then you provide the text that you want to find, and it is also going to return the result as a list. So if I should say, okay, find E, it is going to find 2 instances of E and it's going to return the result for me as a list. So for example here, find A and A. So it checks where this value contains A and returns it as a list. So if it returns it as a list, it means that we can now count the result that it has returned, right? So let me show you what I mean. So if we should go back to Power Query here and use the list.find text now, find text function, we want to find the occurrences of the letter E right here. You realize that it has given us two instances of E. And if you check the condition, it says where the currency name contains two of the letter E, right? It should be case sensitive and does not need to follow each other. So regardless of where we have E here, it should be able to find it. And that's what we've done. But that's not all. We need to, so for us to select where there are only two instances of E, that means we need to count, right? We're going to count the results right here. So we use the list count function. The list count function is actually straightforward. All you need to do is pass a list to it. And now let me see. What did I miss? Oh, right here. It should be list.count. List.count. Yep, so this should work fine. It's given us the answer is equal to 2. You see that now, right? If I should pass, for example, 22, it says that there is just one E. I don't want that. I want where the E is equal to 2. So all I need to do is to test for the condition where the result of this query is equal to 2. It's going to return true. If I should test the next value, which is 22, is going to return false. So this is how I will now use this logic to select the items that I want to select. So what we need to do next is to copy the idea from here. Now this is where we converted everything to list, right? So we don't need this step again. We can copy this logic, can borrow this logic and use that logic here. So what we need to do is take out this step and do list to text. Sorry, text to list rather. Text to list. Then we need to pass the current item, right? We need to pass the current item. Now, by the time we do this, everything is going to stop working, and that's fine because this item should be coming from a list, but we are not referencing any list right here. We're just passing through the value. You understand, right? So what we can do is to use the list.select function because we want to select values that meet our condition, the condition that we have specified. So we can To do that, we need to use the currency name list here. Currency name list. Then this is a condition that returns true or false for us. So we are iterating through each of the items, and this is each of the item here. We are checking if it contains E. If it contains E, we want to count the number of times that E occurred here. If it's equal to 2, then we should select that item. And you see that now we have the list of all currency names that contains the two instances of the letter E, rupee, regardless of where E is located. It's going to check and confirm that the number of the occurrences for E is equal to 2. So if this is true, it's going to select that item for us right here. So we can now go back to this step. We don't need it anymore. We can take this step away and have this. So what we have here, we can rename this step to selected currency name. Selected currency name. We can now use this result to filter our data. What we can do is to add another step, and for this step, we are instead of selecting from a list, we are selecting from the table, right? So we use the Table.SelectRows function. So right here, what we are going to do is to reference this this navigation step. So you can just go back to confirm what we have right here, which is DBO dim currency. So I can copy that and paste it right here. So we are going to be going through each row of the currency name table, currency name column. So we are going to use the list contains. So this is just like yesterday, just that in the selection process we use some new functions. So selected currency name. Then we want to confirm that this list contains the currency name, currency name. And if this is true, if this currency name is found in the list of currency names that we have created, then it's going to be selected. If it is not found, it's going to be left out. The field currency of double R of triple. Check this out. So this is fine. You see that the number of rows has been reduced. We can now just select the columns that we want, and this solves our problem. So we can come to this step and rename this step to selected rows, selected currency, and this right here has solved our problem. Let me just confirm that we answered the question correctly. Currency key, currency alternate key, and currency name. Yes, where the currency name contains two of the letter E. Yeah, we've done that. It's case sensitive, fine. Does not need to be in a row. Yeah, we saw that as well. So it could be in a row or it could be anywhere, regardless of where it is. And it's also case sensitive because we see that here there's a capital E, but it only counted the small letters, right? It only counted the small letters, Philippines. Yeah, this is really good. So we've been able to solve the problem. Let's confirm that query forwarding is working fine. Yeah, query forwarding is working fine. You notice we selected the columns last, right? If you do that before applying the steps, you're going to have a subquery. We don't want to have a subquery, so that's why we did that. So this brings us to the end of the challenge for day 27. Thank you for following along. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to like the video. If you have a comment, you can leave the comment. I'll go through it and read it and reply you. See you tomorrow.